bachelor's of science degree from Cal State in marketing with a double minor in public administration and public relations. I do have an AA in business. I am a mortgage banker. I am a real estate broker. I've been a financial advisor for 20 years. I do hold a Department of Insurance license, which lets me deal with investments. I do have a lot of questions about actually the charter, on what the charter says that our city treasurer does, and actually what the city front webpage says it does. Pretty much it just says that the person is in charge of investments, when in all actuality, that person is in charge of cutting the check. So that person knows what comes in and knows what leaves. You know, when I ran to be the mayor of the city, and the only thing that I kept asking myself is, where's the treasurer? Why has nobody said anything to the treasurer? I mean, that's the person that should have spoke up. That's the person that should have screamed out, hey, help us, help us. That's the person to oversee the money. That is an elected official. That is a person who we put there to monitor and to watch our money. And me personally, I do not feel that the city treasurer should be an at-will employee appointed, because as we can see, that doesn't go over very well. If you've watched any city council meeting with appointed people or with people that are hired at will, they can be fired when they do not do the right thing. So, me, I would like to step into the role. I'd like to, you know, be more vocal. I'd like to see the treasurer at the city council meetings. I'd like to, you know, be able to stand up here and answer all your questions. When you say, what are we invested in, or where did our money go, or how much money do we have, or where are we today, I'd like to be able to answer that question for you guys. So, if you guys have any questions, I can answer them. Yes, sir.
I'm surprised that the city charter says anything about the internet. You said that it requires the internet information.
It says that they must publish a monthly statement to the mayor and common council of the receipts and expenditures of the preceding month, and shall perform all duties required of him or her by the mayor and common council. He is not allowed to pay out any money belonging to the city, except on claims presented, allowed, and submitted in the manner provided by the charter. And what I had said is that I would post it on the internet.
And then explain to me how you see the relationship between the treasurer and the finance director. That's who you're talking about being an at-will employee. Is that correct?
Well,
is one the boss of the other, or what do you say?
Well, the problem that I see is that the finance director has no boss, and so that's pretty much who keeps all the records in City Hall. And so what I was saying is that the treasurer and the treasurer's office should actually oversee that, being that the treasurer is an elected official rather than an at-will employee. Because if you go back over the history of San Bernardino and the finance directors, I mean, some of them have sued the city, some of them come out and tried to tell the truth, but like I said, an at-will employee, that's what they are. They're at-will. They can be fired.
So you, as treasurer, you would keep the books of the city? Is that what you're saying?
Me as treasurer, you know, we're in the middle of rewriting the charter. The treasurer's job here has a few lines, but I personally, I believe that the problem and how we ended up in bankruptcy is because there was really nobody watching the finance department. Okay, and there's a very lack of communication in the finance department. I mean, the city hall right now, the finance department is in the hot seat because we can't get our audits done. And, you know, they're supposed to communicate with the treasurer's office. Well, I would make sure that they communicate with the treasurer's office. I believe that the two should be combined in one, and the head of the finance should be the treasurer, because if you look up the word treasurer, if you look up any Fortune 500 company that's doing well, the treasurer is in charge of the finance, is in charge of the payments, is in charge of overseeing, you know, departments and where they spend their money and where they put their dollars.
So would you accomplish that by amending the city charter? Is that what you would do?
I'm not exactly sure if I would be amending the city charter because they're already doing it, but I would make a suggestion. I mean, I don't believe that I would have that power in myself. I would make that suggestion and I would bring it to the people, because I do feel like if the two were one, we would have a person. Right now, do we have anybody to look at saying that, hey, where'd our money go? Do we have one person to give us a straight answer? No, we don't. We need one person. Not that our city will ever be in bankruptcy again, but when everybody wants to know, why do we get off on the freeway exits and we have potholes and panhandlers and weeds and trash and homeless? Okay, there should be somebody being able to say, this is what happened to our money and this is why. And right now we don't have that. Yes, sir.
In 2010, didn't Charles McNeely say exactly that when we headed into bankruptcy?
Yes.
Could you repeat the question?
He said, in 2010, didn't Charles McNeely say exactly that when we were headed into bankruptcy? Any other questions? Comments, concerns? Yes, sir.
You had mentioned that you wanted to be mayor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so where you're in for treasurer, I mean, are you gonna run for treasurer and then run for mayor? Is that your goal? Or?
No. I did want to be the mayor, truth be told. My mother's been praying for the city since I was 3 years old. My mother used to want my father, who, by the name of James Roe, he does own a lot of property and he does a lot of business in the city. He loves the city. My mother loves the city. She always wanted my dad to be the mayor. And my dad, no, I'm not. I don't want to be the mayor. I don't want to be the mayor. And me as a little girl, I always said, you know, I'd like to be the mayor so I could make my mom's prayers come true. I did run to be the mayor. I actually, when I didn't win, I actually was mad at God, and I went back and I had a conversation with God, and I told him, you know, God, why'd you tell me to run? I thought I was going to win. And he told me, little girl, and I said, yes, God. And he says, does everybody know your name? And I said, yes. And he says, have you ever done something once and not been able to do it right the second time? I said, no. He said, then get up and do what I God tell you to do. So when I happened to find out that the treasurer's office was open, that's actually a perfect job for me, because I, Karmel Roe, been in business for myself for 20 years. I cut paychecks, I manage money, I watch money, I've had plenty of businesses. I am in every aspect of the city. I've gone through the police academy, I've gone through, you know, the dogs, I've gone through everything that everybody complains about, code enforcement, trash, homeless. I've walked the city, I go out, I travel downtown. As a matter of fact, when I travel around the city, I say my prayers. So no, actually, when I am elected, I would like to stay the treasurer. I would like to engage the people. I would like to be transparent. I would like to be the face of accountability and truth. Any other questions? Thank you for inviting me.
Have you both up here for just a second. We have a gift for our speakers. And as a